Topic: Life's Regrets and the Reinvention of Self, Pathways for Personal and National Transformation. Written, Professor Mannix Paul, PhD, Me Foundation. Monthly Lecture, Series 62, June 8, 2026. Life is a journey marked by aspirations, uncertainties, victories, disappointments, and lessons. Few individuals travel through life exactly as they imagined. The distance between our dreams and our reality often becomes the space where character is tested, wisdom is acquired, and resilience is forged. Most people begin life with hopes of success, fulfillment, recognition, and happiness. Yet along the way, many encounter obstacles they never anticipated, opportunities they failed to recognize, and decisions they later wish they had made differently. One of the most universal human experiences is regret. Regret emerges when individuals reflect upon missed opportunities, poor decisions, failed relationships, broken trust, neglected responsibilities, or paths not taken. It is the emotional consequence of realizing that a different choice might have produced a different outcome. However, regret becomes destructive only when it immobilizes the individual. When properly understood, regret can become one of life's greatest teachers. Human beings often create their own suffering through poor judgment, impatience, pride, lack of discipline, fear, or refusal to heed wise counsel. History is filled with examples of individuals who possessed extraordinary talent but lacked the wisdom to manage it. Others inherited opportunities but failed to maximize them. Some ignored warnings, resisted correction, or allowed temporary emotions to dictate permanent decisions. Consequently, they experienced avoidable setbacks that altered the course of their lives. Yet failure itself is not the greatest tragedy. The greater tragedy is refusing to learn from failure. The psychologist Carol Dweck's growth mindset theory suggests that successful individuals view challenges and setbacks not as evidence of permanent inadequacy, but as opportunities for growth and improvement. Individuals with a growth mindset understand that mistakes are not final verdicts, but valuable feedback. They recognize that every setback contains lessons capable of strengthening future performance. Similarly, Albert Bandura's social cognitive theory emphasizes the importance of self-efficacy, the belief in one's capacity to overcome obstacles and achieve desired goals. Individuals who maintain confidence in their ability to adapt and persevere are more likely to recover from adversity and pursue new opportunities despite previous disappointments. Throughout history, many of the world's most successful individuals have experienced significant failures before achieving greatness. Entrepreneurs have lost businesses, inventors have endured repeated rejection, political leaders have suffered electoral defeats, and scholars have faced criticism and discouragement. What distinguished them was not the absence of failure, but their refusal to surrender to it. The same principle applies to organizations and institutions. Many corporations that dominate today's global economy emerged from periods of crisis, financial difficulty, or strategic failure. Rather than allowing setbacks to define them, they used adversity as a catalyst for innovation and transformation. They embraced change, reassessed their assumptions, and developed new strategies capable of meeting evolving realities. The story is no different for nations. Some nations fail not because they lack resources, but because they make poor strategic decisions. Others prosper not because they possess extraordinary advantages, but because they cultivate effective institutions, long-term planning, accountability, and a culture of continuous improvement. In their influential work, Why Nations Fail, Acemoglu and Robinson argue that nations succeed when they develop inclusive institutions that promote participation, innovation, accountability, and opportunity. Conversely, nations often fail when institutions become extractive, serving narrow interests at the expense of the broader population. History demonstrates that countries such as Singapore, South Korea, and post-war Germany transformed themselves through strategic leadership, disciplined planning, investment in education, and collective sacrifice. Their progress was not accidental. It resulted from deliberate choices sustained over time. Nations that prosper understand a fundamental truth. Short-term sacrifices often produce long-term rewards. They invest in human capital, infrastructure, research, technology, and governance systems that may not produce immediate political gains but generate sustainable prosperity for future generations. The same principle applies to individuals. A meaningful life requires sacrifice. Success often demands postponing immediate gratification in pursuit of long-term goals. Education requires years of study. Professional excellence requires discipline and perseverance. Financial stability requires prudent decisions and delayed consumption. Healthy relationships require commitment, patience, and forgiveness. There are no lasting achievements without corresponding sacrifices. One of the greatest mistakes people make is allowing a single failure, betrayal, disappointment, or rejection to define their entire future. A failed business does not mean a failed life. A broken relationship does not mean the end of meaningful relationships. An academic setback does not determine one's intellectual capacity. A professional disappointment does not eliminate future opportunities. The scars of past mistakes never completely disappear, nor should they. They serve as reminders of lessons learned and provide wisdom for future decisions. Just as physical scars testify to healing after injury, emotional and psychological scars can become evidence of resilience rather than weakness. The challenge is learning how to reinvent oneself in the midst of adversity. Reinvention begins with honest self-reflection. Individuals must be willing to acknowledge mistakes without becoming imprisoned by them. Accountability is essential because growth begins where denial ends. The second step is embracing continuous learning. Every setback contains information that can improve future decisions. Third, individuals must cultivate resilience, the capacity to recover from difficulties and continue moving forward despite uncertainty. Equally important is the development of a clear vision. No individual can rise above the quality of his or her vision. Vision provides direction during confusion, motivation during hardship, and hope during periods of discouragement. Without vision, challenges become overwhelming. With vision, challenges become obstacles to be overcome rather than barriers to success. Faith also plays a significant role in the human journey. Whether expressed through religious belief, personal conviction, or hope for a better future, faith enables individuals to persist when outcomes remain uncertain. Much of human progress has been achieved by people willing to act before they possessed complete certainty. Faith encourages action despite risk and perseverance despite temporary setbacks. Today's world presents unprecedented challenges. Individuals confront economic uncertainty, technological disruption, social change, political instability, environmental threats, and increasing competition. Organizations struggle to remain relevant in rapidly changing markets. Nations face complex global pressures that demand innovation and adaptability. Yet history repeatedly demonstrates that adversity often becomes the birthplace of transformation. The greatest discoveries emerge from curiosity. The greatest innovations arise from necessity. The greatest leaders are often shaped by hardship. The greatest nations frequently emerge stronger after periods of crisis. Likewise, the strongest individuals are often those who have learned how to transform pain into purpose and failure into wisdom. Regret is not a strategy. Self-pity is not a solution. Blame does not create progress. What creates progress is the willingness to learn, adapt, sacrifice, and begin again. Life will never be free of challenges. Difficulties are not exceptions to the human experience, they are part of it. The question is not whether challenges will come. The question is how individuals, organizations, and nations respond when they do. Those who embrace resilience, maintain vision, cultivate discipline, and remain committed to growth often discover opportunities hidden within adversity. They learn that setbacks are temporary, lessons are permanent, and transformation remains possible. Ultimately, the most successful people, organizations, and nations are not those that avoided failure. They are those that refuse to allow failure to have the final word. The future belongs to those who learn from yesterday, act courageously today, and remain hopeful about tomorrow. Courtesy of Me Foundation, committed to human capacity building worldwide. Just a voice of reasoning in a complex dispensation. Thank you for listening, and kindly share to inspire others.